Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! We're going to have FMLFPL Milan.
This Walsh.
That was kind of a weird okay. It didn't really grind my throat yet. It's a afternoon okay, not a nighttime okay.
Yeah, no, it's afternoon. It looks like I'm in a dungeon right now.
I was about to say, we're potting earlier than we've pretty much ever potted, and you look like you're in tanning salon or something.
Yeah, not built for this over here at noon.
It's literally too sunny outside, and the camera's like, oh, clearly it's time to lower the exposure. Dude, you're fucking flying. When are you going to buy into Walsh flight? Because it's getting out of actually control. Like, this is the best bench boost of your life. Best fucking...
Yeah.
The most you've flown in a long time. I mean, I have the points up here. You're on fucking 73 after you minus the 4 for the hit. Still have Cap, Matoma, March, McAllister to go. You're up another, 300K? It's out of control, dude.
Yeah.
You want to know the number one indicator of how much you're flying? Is you are literally number one in the Mug League, which has never happened in our lives.
Number one?
Number one out of like 600 or whatever the fuck it is.
And how many weeks is that? 1 week? 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
2 weeks. And then, in 28, you're free hitting. So you have every chance to go and win a mug for yourself. Finally, you got an FMLFPL mug. Dude, what a bench boost. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, bench boost, man. I mean, it was, I'm just very much playing my own game, right? Like not getting Tony, hitting an Ederson, I'm getting the things that I think is
Ederson,
right, even though it's not
fuck
right.
off with Ederson.
No, I mean, it's reverse lore, I've been talking about Ederson for a long time. And
in a weird way, even though Ederson is just cucking me to levels unknown, it's a little bit comforting to know that the lore is still real. Lore is true, there's something to believe in out there.
Of course. And I mean, everyone probably have looked at my team and said, oh yeah, bench boost 29, double, and I'm just seeing things a little bit differently, not wanting to take all these transfers and hits to get a couple extra games of bad players and just do it now, focus on my 11. It's going good. Points are coming in, and I feel like I'm seeing the games clearly and picking the guys that are the guys I should be picking. So
yeah, for those who are on audio, not YouTube, he did Saka, Odegaard, Bob, Monster out for McAllister, March, and Ederson. So you're +1 on that with the extra matches coming from the Brighton guys. And then the bench boost is Pickford, Tarko, which is 16. Ake clean is 6, so 22. And then Nanto subs on, gets a side pass assist from a corner just to complete the bench boost.
That was a world-class assist.
It was a fucking joke, and you're
goal
just
wouldn't have
everything you're
without
doing.
The pass.
Everything you're doing is right. So good job by you. I hope you're having fun and keep climbing.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm on 43, which I'm on a little red, like a 10K red. I still have the 5 guys and my captain to go. So I'm doing fine. It seems like one thing that I brought up on the Friday of my life that we were both kind of shocked with is, like, Tony was the chalk cap, which I didn't really expect. 67% capped in the elite team, 50% capped in the top 10K was Tony. And then, the others were just kind of spread between like whatever Brighton mid you have or people have or prefer or whatever. So because of that, even though I'm having like mostly blanks and a Mo 0, et cetera, the Matoma cap differential points over Tony is kind of keeping it to like a small red for me. So I'm doing okay. Gabriel 14, Tarko 8.
How about your bench boost?
Yeah, I should have bench boosted with Olsen not even playing, and I would have been absolutely flying. But Yeah,
it seemed like that was the theme this weekend of people's benches.
Oh yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah.
Everyone had good fixtures, sort of, and doubles.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, exactly.
Because typically these players would have been on our bench, like these Brighton guys or these shitty Brentford defenders and shit. And people are, yeah.
I'm not worried about my red. I still have the wild card in the bank. I do have to take like a long week this week to see what I'm doing for 28 because it's either free hit or wild card, and those are very different moves. So that'll be something to be figured out later. But that's
wild carding before a break feels very bad to me.
But yeah, well, we'll get there. We don't need to jump ahead of ourselves. The league updates, we're in the middle of a game week, so. Maybe let's just start with these, 28 questions because it's the big blank and a lot of people are doing different things. And straight out the gate, Dadlad, just which free hit 28 picks can Walsh conjure from his ball sack? I mean, everyone is feeling the fucking balls are almighty right now. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't draft a team yet, but
yeah, me neither.
It'll definitely have 3 Chelsea and it'll definitely have 3 Arsenal.
Yes. I think that's the most obvious fixtures
Tony
to exploit.
Will definitely be in.
Yep.
And I'll probably have 1 or 2 Villa players. So it probably only leaves room for 1 or 2 punts. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. I have to play with, which guys I like more than others. But, at a structural level, that seems to be where I'll focus myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty standard. I'm sure I'll just put Kane in, not captain him.
Yeah. I was going to say it might be more of like a, Thursday night when we're both kind of like actually drafting teams because there is a Friday game this week, I think. There is a Friday game. So by the time we're potting Thursday night, we're going to like have most of our teams on, and that'll be probably the better time to be like, actually, I'm really feeling this punt that no one has, but
I haven't dug deep enough into that yet. But yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing I'm just thinking of is a little problematic is, there are kind of 4 forwards, Ali, Tony, Kane, and Kai. I guess that one has to be missing out to figure that out.
Yeah.
Probably will depend more on how good I feel about other Chelsea picks. I might just not have Kane also. Wouldn't mind that away game against one of the best teams in the league.
Southampton. Yeah, I mean, we should.
Master.
I'm just going to kind of push, I think, all these questions to, the Thursday pod, like other questions of like punts and high ceiling picks and all that stuff. Because without having like drafted teams, it's just really hard to even think about it. I mean, but I am looking at like Leicester, if they're still attacking really well. Like, I don't know if people are on Matto. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Just at Brentford's a little bit iffy.
Yeah. It's not great. I mean, Steady Hand asked about Brennan Johnson. I mean, he's home Newcastle, which you wouldn't really usually target.
I think that fixture's a complete stay away. I'm definitely not going to have any players from that game.
Yeah, it seems bad.
I think, Villa Bournemouth is an interesting one, I think, because that's like in air quotes exploitable, but Aston Villa are so... You don't know what you're going to get with them any given game week, every given weekend. So that's, I feel like, really unpredictable to load up or anything like that. They just don't really look like cleans. They
I wish Moreno was
a game,
nailed.
but yeah, I mean, he subbed really early, but every attacking action that they did that was good was him putting the ball in the box.
He's so good at attacking. Like I understand that Villa fans are upset because he's not so good defensively. But like, oh my God, when he's like what we want Dean to be is what Moreno actually is. Like he just creates chances nonstop when he plays.
But I mean, his subbing early isn't bad. That could be, I could see myself having him,
but he also just
Watkins or something.
Doesn't start sometimes, which is bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel
two
like
out of the last, or what is it? 3 out of the last 6, he didn't start.
Yeah, the last couple games though, I mean, he's good.
He was good.
He's really good against West Ham.
Yeah,
he just kind of runs out of steam because he's just
and I think
nonstop going all the way up to the byline and stuff, right?
Yeah, and based on highlights, I mean, it did seem like West Ham were kind of exploiting him the other way. Bowen, Benrahma were having a little bit of a field day. I mean, we didn't get any questions about captaincy, but I'm just curious where you're thinking right now, because even though everyone's going to have like 9, 10, or 11 of the same players, everyone who's like free hitting and stuff, because there's not that many fixtures to choose from, I do think captaincy is going to be really split between like Kane, Chelsea guy, Arsenal guy, even like Ali.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one that I think is similar to last week, not close. I think it should be an Arsenal player.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's astonishingly far away from anything is the Arsenal home Palace. That will be destroyed. It'll be a dismemberment.
I think that a lot of people are going to be on Kane. Most people will be split between an Arsenal guy. But I do, if I was in a punt today, and I haven't thought about it this much,
I'm kind of interested in Tony.
I think Kai. Like, if we're going to see another Everton away performance where they just completely roll over, which they did against Liverpool, which they did against Arsenal, and Chelsea could just like score 4 and just like have the easiest day ever. That's like one where I'm like, that might be actually the biggest win.
No, I don't think so. I mean, Kai's basically best case, he gets a return. I mean, he just doesn't get that much volume, and there's still a fucked up mess. Chelsea sort of, who's going to play, who knows? I mean, it's going to be a brand new 11 who's never started a game before ever in their lives again, as it is every week. I think that catches up to them.
Form a bit. I mean, sides asked, have Chelsea turned a corner? Are they worth look going forward? I mean, they're home Everton this week, and then I think, maybe more relevant is after this week is home Villa, home Liverpool, double in 29, at Wolves in 30, home Brighton in 31. I mean, that's just an incredible run. And so I look at someone like Kai, and I don't think he's a 1 week pick, or Chilwell too. And Chilwell even more so probably. I think they're 4 plus game week picks.
I agree completely with that. Yeah. I think their pick. I mean, Chilwell I think is in another category than Kai.
He's such a good pick. Yeah,
I don't think Kai is captain material at all, just from by the nature of how they play and kind of who he is. I do think that they're turning a quarter to some degree. I mean, Enzo's making a huge difference there.
He's so good.
He's just finding his feet. He just makes everything run so much smoother. And, he has some creativity from an area of the pitch that they were lacking in before. But, I put a lot of stock in that about the personnel and, who's playing. And they have, more than any other team in the league this year, I feel like, played different players every game. And I really just hate that. And I feel like when that's the case, yes, you can have a 5-0, like, wow, that was incredible. But you can also have a 0-0 where it's like they can't do anything. Yeah. So, when that's the case, I just get a little nervous about putting captaincy there. I still like it as a pick. Listen, I'm not sitting here saying this is a bad fixture. They're not going to beat Everton, right? Yeah. So
I hear you. That's probably right. I'm just throwing punts out there.
You're also like fucking obsessed with Kai.
I am. I think he's incredible. And I think actually Potter's starting to get the best out of him. And he's on pens. So, very into that. Another forward in the game is Erling Haaland. And Bjorn R said, how are you ranking the striker options? I'm looking at Haaland replacements who double in 29. Kai, Ali, Felix, Solanke. CB said, I'm still mentally recovering from my 26 wildcard. Is swapping out Haaland just herd mentality 2.0? Kid said, do you have any plans on dumping Haaland for the next couple of game weeks? And Protiak said, adding on to this, is it smart to transfer Haaland out for one of Joao or Watkins, at least for the next 2? So Haaland obviously blanks in 28. Home Liverpool in 29 before absolutely everyone needs to own him again in 30 onwards for the rest of the season, probably. What are you thinking there? You think you'll transfer him out in 29 for a 1 weeker?
No, I don't think so. I don't. I might bench him. I could see that happening, but I'm not in the position of just kind of.
Yeah, because you're not bench boosting, right?
Yeah, I'm not bench boosting. I'm free hitting now. It won't make. I mean, I might. It's far away. It's in a fucking month. But as of right now, I think if you're not free hitting in 28 and you're looking at your team like, wow, I need to get some players in, I think he's kind of obvious because.
Yeah, I think that's the only scenario, right? Yeah. Like, because if you're wildcarding this week, you can entertain not having him, I think, for 2 game weeks. if
or
you're
you just
free,
bench him. Like, it's easy to bench him too if you can sculpt your whole team. I mean,
right? That's true. But
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable to transfer him out this week or to wildcard him out this week. But if you're free hitting, it just doesn't make that much sense to get rid of him for 1 week for fucking like Ollie Watkins and then bring him right back in for 30. It just doesn't seem productive, right?
Yeah, it also definitely depends on your team specific and what you're doing. But if you're spending 2 transfers on this one spot on your team to get Haaland out in actual 29 to bring in Ollie Watkins, so you get 1 extra game and then you bring him back in, it's like, that's a nonsense. But if you're doing it now and you're getting 3 games
now,
versus
I think it's good.
1,
I think it's good.
Yeah. But that also is to say, I mean, I haven't seen many teams where they have, 3 blanks, or 4. Like, I've seen teams that have a lot. So you're going to have to hold on to some blankers.
Well,
so I would want to hold on to him,
I think
Get
this
rid of
is
someone else.
specifically teams who are either wildcarding this week or teams who wildcarded in 26 or 27.
Okay.
Because those teams are really well set up for the blank. They have probably 9 or 10 blankers totally fine. And they're stacked for the double in 29, right? So for that, that's the team where they're like, yeah, I would just do that move. Like, as long as you definitely have a route back into him in 30, because we're probably going to captain him like, 6 out of the 8 game weeks left in the season starting in 30 or something, then like that's, you can do that. And I think you can benefit.
I don't know. I mean, I also think you could get away with not having him in 30 because they've been really bad away all year. And they haven't been like blowing teams away or putting up a few goals a game away. I feel like that's not like the worst end of the world if you give them another. It's risky because they're still good.
I don't like it.
But
I mean, you look at the Palace game and like, yeah, City weren't that great.
He still had chances.
He could have had a hat trick.
Yeah.
I mean, he missed a legit sitter from Ake. He missed another decent chance and he got a pen.
Yeah, it's just a way they just haven't been hitting very high heights. So
Bournemouth, they just destroyed again, right? And Southampton, Bournemouth aren't too far apart.
Southampton are not bad anymore, dude.
I mean, Bournemouth aren't either.
Yeah,
they're not too far apart. I mean, Bournemouth just laid down for City, but then put up a good fight against Arsenal and beat Liverpool. So, but yeah. That's Haaland. I mean, speaking of Arsenal, Hardly Boy said, for those of us with Saka, today was a bit concerning how uninvolved he was. Can we chalk this up as a blip and him maybe being a bit leggy after Europa, or is he just straight up a worse pick than the other Arsenal mids despite having pens? And Jitterbug said, is Martinelli the best Arsenal asset right now? Mart looks very involved. Jesus coming back might rekindle their early season dream partnership. However, Arsenal have a lot of attackers on form right now. Martinelli probably less nailed than Saka. Saka also seems better in the big games. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. What are you saying from Arsenal?
I mean, I don't agree that Saka seems better in the big games. I mean, maybe he has... I'm not looking at numbers right now. Maybe that's just like a fact. But when I think of big games, I'm like, oh, this is a great Martinelli game. He gets to actually counter in space. And like those are when he's at his most dangerous. But yeah, I mean, we've been saying for like 3 weeks now that Martinelli's just the best pick on Arsenal.
Well, what about Jesus back, though?
I mean, I think that only helps him unless, Arteta sees this as a rotation.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, we see like, I guess the comp that I would put to this is like Jota back. And it's like, yeah, he started a couple of games, but he's clearly just not 100% yet. When you're out for 3, 4, 5 months, I don't know how long Jesus is out. I think it takes a lot of time to be like, you're starting every game all over again. I think we'll see him eased in. I mean, it was a perfect 3-0 blowout situation to give him 10 minutes against Fulham. But like, I don't think they're looking at like, okay, Jesus is starting the next bunch of games in a row or something like that.
Yeah, but don't forget, they only have 1 game in the next 3 weeks or whatever,
Yeah,
so
that's
a
true.
lot of time.
Yeah, 29 is 3 weeks away or whatever, 3.5 weeks away.
Because I feel like Jesus and Saka are 1,000,000% in everyone's mind the best option in those 2 positions. I could see Trossard and Mart, depending on the enemy, he could pick one or the other. On the left wing.
I just find it hard to imagine that he's going to drop Martinelli starting at least. Maybe he gets subbed off on 70, whatever. We've seen that all season.
Yeah,
he gets subbed all the time. It's not that big of a change.
No, I'm not saying drop, but I'm saying like maybe he starts 5 of 7 or 4 of 6 or something, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there like, oh god,
he's not the best pick anymore.
Yeah, it's
that's
possible. Something you have to consider.
Possible. Yeah, I wonder.
We could speculate about this forever.
Yeah, I wonder. Like, I have no idea. I wonder what like Nate would think, or in Arsenal, a fucking gooner or something like that. But I don't know. I still look at it and I'm just like, as of now, with the information we have, week to week, just talking strictly short term, like who would I most want for 28? It's Martinelli. Who do I most want in the past game weeks? It was Martinelli. Is Martinelli in fucking 26, 27? It's 28. 29 is 3 weeks away. Maybe something will change. There's an international break. There's a lot of action in between. They probably have the second leg of Europa. I don't even know.
I still like Odegaard the best.
It's something to think about. You still like Odegaard the most?
Yeah, I think that he's so much more solid, and I don't want to be spending a transfer on the spot.
Yeah.
And I do like that, he is so central, and he was also so much better when Jesus was there, I feel like, because
everyone was.
He was taking up striker position a lot more.
Yeah.
And even still, like now where he's kind of the late runner, he finds the space in the box. There's just so many times where Martinelli or Saka, go down to the byline and cut it back low, and he's the guy. He's there, So I still like him a lot. I would probably pick him over any of the other options. I think Martinelli and Saka are closer, though.
It's not that dissimilar to like talking about which Brighton mid to get as recently as, last game week.
Yeah, the main difference is they're all good, and none of them are called Solly March.
Yeah, but the Brighton mids are all good for points, like we're talking about FPL. Like, to me, it's not that dissimilar.
I agree.
I don't really know. I mean, I think that Arsenal are the prime example of teams like focusing their attention way too much on bench boosts and having 15 doublers and just missing out on Arsenal home leads in 29. Because everyone's going to have their Arsenal guys this week on Palace, obviously. But next week, I think a lot of people are planning on getting rid of Arsenal or whatever. And like they're all just incredible picks again. But, I might fall into that trap. I got rid of Saka this week. I got away with it. What do you think about Saka?
It's hard to fit everyone in.
That was Hardly Boys' question. What do you think about Saka? I mean, he had one shot, didn't create a single chance. Just wasn't really in the game.
Well, he's a winger. We forget, any winger can go completely missing and anonymous in a given game. I mean, Anthony Robinson is an absolutely diabolical footballer. He
shut down Saka.
Yeah, I mean, but, he was at the scene of the crime for every single goal. And, they can just find little tweaks and reasons why to do this or that in a given game. But I also think, ever since Zinchenko came back, with Martinelli, and like the pattern of play and building up on the left side is just so much better,
which is what we saw early season too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when the play is really leaning more towards the left side, it makes sense that Saka goes a little bit more missing. But, he's still ticking along. He still has pens. Just because he puts up a dud, we know what kind of player he is. He got subbed early. Who knows?
Yeah. He also had the by far best chance of the game in the Bournemouth game. He just didn't score it. So that like if he scores that, we're not even talking about this, right? He's on a 10-pointer last week, and it's like whatever.
Sure. So, I still think he's a fine hold.
Yeah. But, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Man, there's some other questions, or do you want to talk about games? It's hard because it's a blank game week. So many of the relevant games to talk about in 27, like Liverpool losing, etc., just don't matter for 1 week. And then we'll revisit it in 29. Yeah, so many teams don't play, right?
I think the Villa were a little bit interesting. I watched that game.
Yeah, tell me about it. I didn't watch.
I mean, they're sort of a fucked up mess.
They're so weird.
Yeah, because they have Bournemouth at home, and I don't know if people are just like, oh yeah, 3 Villa on my free hit, or target them, target Ollie. Like, I still feel like he's an okay pick, but he's not like amazing. I mean, he got a couple chances, and they were, some bad defending, and he finished one and didn't finish the other. But this isn't a team that's like just free flowing, creating all these chances at all. Like, it's very stop start. It's very erratic. It's just very like cagey. And, it seems like they don't have a complete consolidation of like the ideas of the manager or something. I don't know. Yeah. Something is off, and the balance is really strange.
Yeah.
The defense and the spine is kind of fragile. So I don't know. I'm just kind of cautious on them in general.
They've been conceding a lot of chances and goals. And, West Ham had the pen. Obviously, that was their goal, but they had a ton of other chances. They had like huge chances. So I really don't feel great about the defense, which is also really weird and not what we expected at all from an Emery team. So
now Kamara's out. That's not good.
That's really bad.
That is the reason, right? We look in their midfield and he's playing all these 8s basically. Yeah. And that's it, right? He's playing 3 8s or 2 8s and a 10. And then there's just no one even close to a 6 in there. And they just
teams are slicing
drawn
through
out of position. There's space. They get counted on. They get passed through. It's kind of a mess.
The only team who didn't really threaten them was Palace. Rest in peace. But also Decore got a red card in the 60th minute, so that also didn't help. But even the Everton game, I think that like results play too much into people's mind, right? Like they go fucking away. They beat Everton 2-0. Everyone's looking like, oh yeah, easy. Everton created like 1.5 XG on 15 shots. Like, they were all over them that game. Villa had a couple counters that resulted in chances. They got a pen, and they come away 2-0, and good job by them. But I don't trust this Villa team to keep cleans. And Bournemouth has been scoring, and Bournemouth look good on the counter too. I think they're going to slice through them and get chances.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other team too that we don't spend much time on that I've been kind of half joking about is Southampton. I'm not joking. They're just good, I think. They're just a solid, good team. They have really talented players, and the manager is clearly setting them up to succeed. They've been more
tight,
compact, taking their opportunities within the game. They're not, falling prey to, switching off or losing shape and all of a sudden giving up really big chances. The game was mad, but, they were trying to push for the goal and they gave up a few posts the other way, which that'll happen against a team like Man United. But, I think it's just when we see Southampton this season, we're just like, oh yeah, they're going to just get completely destroyed. And the fact of the matter is, they haven't let up more than a goal like in a month or two. Their last game's 0-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And that's against Man United, Leicester, Leeds, and Chelsea. 1-2 against Wolves. Ever since Sal's got there, they've just been good. They've just been good.
I think, we talk about this every year, multiple times a year, but it's really hard, I think, to adjust mentally. Not just that they're not bad, but also that they play completely differently, right? Because even Southampton teams had years where they weren't bad, but they were still liable to just like give up 6 goals. Like they were still just like, oh, Son and Kane combined for 5 goals today. And that was just normal. And we were just like, yeah, they're still going to finish 14th or whatever. They're still fine, but they're that style. And now they're not bad, but also a very defensive style that seems to not concede a lot of goals. So yeah, that is an interesting one because that goes against, wanting to get someone like a Matto or Iheanacho or a Barnes or whatever.
I hope Kane is 50% capped. Like that would be incredible.
Right. Oh wait, they're not playing. Wait, who are they playing? Oh, it's Spurs. I don't know why I said Leicester. Yeah.
And I think more also on that point is Leeds, right? We're used to seeing Leeds be this open, free-flowing game where it could be 5-4. They're fucking terrible right now. They just look awful. They look like a team managed by Javi Gracia.
I was about to say, does Javi Gracia have anything to do with that?
It's absolutely insane. But what they don't do is,
concede 7.
Yeah, they're not wide open at all for any moment. They don't have a plan. They don't have any idea what a Leeds goal looks like.
They've gone from the most exciting to one of the most boring teams. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, and unless if they're just losing and chasing a game or something. They're just a mess. They just have all their play in their own half. Like they play like Spurs kind of. And it's just disgusting. But, where in the past we're looking at that as, Wolves leads, Wolves at home. Wolves could score 3, even though they suck at attacking. Like this is a 1-1, 1-0, like all over it, right?
Horrible.
So, that's another one, I think, to update our minds about Leeds and what they are. It's not, the home banker captain against Leeds is going to be high scoring. It's going to be like good clean sheet fixture, meh attacking fixture.
Yeah. Speaking of Leeds, I just wanted to, we rarely talk about the bonus point system, but I did notice that Jack Harrison got max bones, and I understand that he got a goal and an assist, but how is there not minus 1 million BPS for an own goal? I mean, if you get like a yellow, you're usually just like, you're fucked. You can't get bonus. And the man puts it into his own net, and it's just like, max bones, obviously.
It's not that bad.
No problem. Yeah, not that bad.
It does. I mean, imagine an own goal.
Don't get a yellow.
Yellows affect the game way more than own goals.
I mean, own goals don't change games. Only goals change games. It's really weird, but it's a fact.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he had to get max bones. He had such a high entertainment value from doing literally every single action in the game that you could do. He did every single thing.
What? So, we need to figure out, or maybe a listener at home can tell us, like who's the king of scoring a goal and an own goal in the same game? Because in my head, it's Skirtle. But there's probably some god who's just done it way more times. And I want to know who that person is because I want to say that they did the X hat trick, the Gordie Howe of soccer hat trick, and just own goal.
I feel like Mings is one of them.
But he doesn't score enough goals. That's the thing. You need
a fucking Skirtle score 7 a year. I mean, he did like maybe once.
But that's what it takes.
It can't be a center back though, right?
But center backs get all the own goals, unless you're Jack Harrison, who's his class is just undeniable. But
I can't imagine anyone's done it more than twice.
Really,
in the same game? That's so improbable to do in the same game.
Yeah, it's one of those things that probably just like
2 of them before
sticks out. But yeah. I mean, it's probably
Bob
pretty
Huth,
rare.
He's probably done it.
Yeah, I'm sure Bob's done it.
What's the other Watford guy? Fucking hate the center back who fucking Britos. What is his name? You know the fucking guy?
Britos.
He got a red card. I had him.
Oh
fucking
yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's done it before.
Yeah. I don't know.
Lascelles. He's got that in him.
Shelby's done it. I know he's done it.
Definitely. His own goals are
worldies. Yeah. I mean, both sides. He only scores worldies.
Outside boot.
He only plays within the middle of the pitch and somehow has scored own goals and goals in the same game.
Yeah, that's great.
Pix and Allen said, how does Casemiro's red affect the opinion on United assets going forward? As in, are any of the assets now a sell for the blank because of it? Basically, they blank this week, but I think a lot of people are planning on making a transfer, a double transfer, etc., for their double in 29. Which is at Newcastle home Brentford, then they're home Everton in 30, then they're away NFO in 31. Casemiro's just getting paid to miss every game imaginable.
Yeah, like this is similar to me when we're talking about Haaland. I'd rather have Haaland than, and bench him or something than keep one of these guys, right? I mean, at Newcastle will probably be a shitty-ass game. Home Brentford could be a really shitty-ass game. I mean, I don't know. Man United are kind of in a weird spot, in a weird moment right now. I don't know what to make of them, honestly. So I don't have a big issue with selling any of their picks, really.
I still think Rashford's a good pick, and I still think that home Brentford has goals in it, and I like home Everton, and I like at NFO, but yeah, it's probably a decision that we don't need to think about right now. I mean, their defense is definitely worse without Casemiro. I think we can obviously see that just by the goals conceded, but he also has been a part of some bad games recently, like a 7-0 loss where he started and was fit and everything. He also played in the Palace game and also got sent off in that game, and Palace scored, so I don't know, but and you look at the games where he was suspended, Leeds created a lot in both games. Leicester, should have scored 2 or 3 goals in that first half without Casemiro. So, maybe it makes like a Shaw or De Gea feel a lot worse in 29, but I don't know. We'll think about it then, I guess.
Yeah. the other aspect too, and they talk about this a lot on some of the Anfield Wrap shows with Man United specifically, is just how many games they've played. And at this stage of the season, given the shallow, somewhat shallow nature of their squad, they have a backup in every spot pretty much. But this could be getting to the stage of the season when, they're dropping their levels a little bit. It's a crunch time. All these easy fixtures in air quotes are against teams that are fighting for every point, tooth and nail, to stay in the division.
Or
just
how
many of these games are they going to just kind of show up, kind of cruise control, comfortably win? I just don't feel like that is too bankable right now. Are they going to be blowing any teams away? I don't know. The legginess nature and argument does have some legs with me. Right now. So I don't know. I just feel like they're in a bad moment, and it's really tough to predict and, kind of future cast, what's going to happen here. But yeah, like you said, the blank, I agree with Rash. I'm going to try and hold on to Rash probably even through the double, because he still is, playing really well, it looks like to me, even though he hasn't scored in the last couple, doing what he's supposed to be doing, but the team is kind of falling apart around him. So
it's really nice that they have kind of a long time off, right? They have Betis on Thursday, but they're up 4-1. They have FA Cup on Sunday against Fulham, so they'll play the first team there. Then they have 2 weeks off before the double starts.
But how many of them actually have 2 weeks off? I mean, how many of them are
because international?
Yeah, I mean, that's like half their team at least, right?
Probably a lot. Yeah, probably a lot. So
Shaw will go, Dello will go, Martinez will go, Varane will go,
Bruno.
Rash will go, De Gea will go. I mean, it doesn't matter, De Gea won't go actually, but so we're talking about, 7 of their first 11 or whatever.
Yeah. Why is there an international break again? I mean, we just had a World Cup and there's no tournaments. Can you just fuck off?
No?
And
you think the money's going to make itself for FIFA or UEFA or whatever?
It's
bald fraud is in charge of whatever governing body. We gotta have an international break here.
Slim Charles said, is Isak an intriguing option once again? Started, got a goal.
No, he's not to me.
He's not even nailed.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to see a little bit more of a run. Do they even have a double?
Yeah, they do.
Newcastle's. Yeah, they do. So they're at NFO this week, and they're home Man United at West Ham in 29. It's not the best double I've ever seen.
They have like 6 away games in their next 8 or something. Yeah. I mean, this is a team that doesn't create chances on a good day. I just don't think you want any attacker here, full stop. And just Trips feels like a perfectly adequate amount of exposure for them. And you can even just not have him. I don't think that's a problem at this point.
There will be a future double against, home Brighton, and, maybe we'll talk then, but yeah, I agree with you. Jitterbug said, what teams are the best to target from those that play in 28 and 29? So I guess he's using free transfers. Maybe he's bench boosting next week. I didn't ask, but, those teams there's not that many of them. There's Chelsea, Leicester, Newcastle, Brentford, Villa, Leeds, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, NFL.
Yeah, I think Chelsea and Leicester would probably jump to the top of the list. So
Leicester has an incredible run. Yeah.
Yeah, at Brentford, which is pretty bad, I think.
Pretty bad.
And then the double though is at Palace, home Villa, which is
really
pretty good. And then they have Bournemouth, City, Wolves, Leeds, Everton, Fulham. So it's a good run outside of the City game, which is obviously not good. So, I think that's got to be one, right there. And then Chelsea, right? I mean, Chelsea, again, they play and they have a double, and they've got home Everton, home Villa, home Liverpool. I mean, 3 homes. It's nice, right? When you don't have to leave your little spot there.
It's comfy.
So I think that they're also, really, really good to target right now. What do you think about this one?
I totally agree on those. I was just thinking the rogue one would be Bournemouth. And, Richard M's next question actually is about Dom, but we're Dom fucking stands, as the kids say these days. I mean, I just absolutely love him. He's incredible. He was incredible against Liverpool too. He plays well every game. At Villa, we just talked about Villa in 28. I think that actually is a good match for them. I think there's going to be a lot of space on the counter. I could see one of those weird Dom games where he gets like a brace of assists or something like that. They have an incredible double. They're home Fulham, home Brighton in 29. And he's still cheap as fuck. And you can just have 5 good midfielders, bench him in bad games, going forward, start him in good games, have him first on the bench, and you're good. So I think that it might actually be, for those wild card or those with specific teams, like Dom is a totally reasonable pick, I think.
I'm not with you on Dom anymore. Okay. Do you know how many goals he has?
I would guess like 2.
3 goals. 1,800 minutes.
Pretty good.
That's unacceptable. And
no pens.
He doesn't look
Still
like
no
scoring.
Pens.
Well, how can they score fucking pen? They don't get touch the ball in the box ever.
They do, though. They score every week.
Barely. I mean, this team just doesn't create chances, and he's not shooting. It's like 1 in 5 games or something where he gets an actual chance. It's insane. The rate is so low.
That is harsh, though, because 4 out of their last 5 games were Newcastle, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. And yeah, they had 20% possession in all of those games and don't touch the ball.
Yeah, he missed a few games. I'm just watching Bournemouth every week.
He gets chances.
Yeah, just watching them every week, I'm just like, this is such a bad attack. I don't want anything to do with it. And if we were in the FPL landscape where we were really struggling for funds and we needed to find all these, we wanted all these, 11 million players in our team, then we could maybe have a longer conversation there. But I don't think that that's the season we're in right now. So I don't like the Dom pick. I don't like Bournemouth at all. I don't think anyone should have a Bournemouth player for the rest of the season.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm in on Dom for those at home. That's it questions wise. Any other matches you want to touch on? I mean, it's always weird going into a blank. Well, yeah, I mean, they were horrible.
They're not playing for a few weeks, so I guess whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
they've been
it's
so
funny.
Bad away. It's like crazy with them.
Oh my God, it's unreal. They're legit. Like, I think they have as many away points as Leicester and Southampton, they said on the broadcast. And then at home, they're just fucking great. That'll be, I mean, I wonder, we can just jump to them right now for the specific reason that this, like, deciding what I do with Liverpool is a big factor on if I free hit this week or I wildcard this week. Because I'm on Darwin, Mo, Trent. Obviously, if I free hit, I'm going to have Darwin, Mo, Trent in 29. If I wildcard, do I want any Liverpool players? And if so, how many, to commit with their next 3 matches? They have the double in 29, which is away Man City, away Chelsea.
Only 30 2 days off, too.
2 days off. 30, their home Arsenal. And then they have, a good run there. But that is, like, last week you were saying everyone should have 3 Liverpool. What are you saying this week?
Yeah, I'm holding for sure. I just still believe in them and the team and the players. I just think that they're really good. And I mean, it's similar to what we were talking about in Discord, right? About Mo and his right at City and at Chelsea are like the best games possible for him. The worst fixture for them is at Leeds. That's a game that they're going to lose 1-0 again, right?
Yeah, they're going to lose. To let people know what you're referencing on Discord, Mo has the most goals in his career against Man United and in first place, and then tied for second place is Man City and Spurs. I mean, he is like the opposite of like a Bruno. Like, big game comes along, bet on Mo. Like, he does the stuff.
Yeah. So, I just also don't feel like there are so many really good, dead cert better midfield picks. Like, I don't see that, And when it comes to attack, I mean, there are no City picks. Arsenal, we have the Arsenal players, and then we have these Brighton players, like, sort of. And then we kind of have just like a bunch of punts, I mean, players who, Maddo or, good players. But Mo's still
it's like
Mo,
only Maddo. It's like Maddo, Rashford, Bruno. Those are the guys that Mo would be competing with, I guess, right?
Yeah. And and then everyone else would be probably in a different, stratosphere of punt.
Yeah.
I still just like betting on Mo there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I still do.
I mean, it's hard to say that the 29 doubles are good in any sort of way, but I will say that the 30 home Arsenal, I mean, we've seen what Liverpool can do at home. Even in this kind of fucked up season, we've just seen it, And, Arsenal have not done well at Anfield, similar to Man United's record at Anfield.
4-1. Not
like,
surprising
that's
at all.
Totally possible. And even in the lost Arsenal, Mo blanked, but Liverpool scored 2 goals and were really good for the first 45 minutes going forward.
Yeah.
It fell off once like guys got hurt and they were making all these subs and stuff. But they score goals in these games. Home City was a 1-0 win. Mo goal.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I want to believe in you and Liverpool, but yeah, they're so fucking inconsistent. It's hard to, but
yeah,
I'll figure that out.
One thing that they have been consistent though is playing to the level of their opposition this season. And
yes, that's a good
City,
way to put
Chelsea, Arsenal. These are games that you're not going to worry about them, switching off in the first 5 minutes and going down 1-0 and then having to deal with a bus of 11 in the enemy box.
It's easier to play against space. Yeah.
Yeah. And, they've been very consistent in being bad in those environments, and that's not what they have coming up. So, yeah, I'm just going to sit tight, hold them. I still like them. And
And Mo missed the fucking pen.
Yeah, Mo missed the pen.
What are we talking about?
Right there's 11. That's an 11-pointer gone right there.
Yeah,
so.
And he never misses. Like, he missed one last year, or one save last year. He never just missed the actual entire fucking frame of the net before in the Prem. It's like a fucking, shit happens. Yeah. But, also I think that like this is an example of where XG, tells a different story, right? I mean, not that they played well. No one in the world, not me included, certainly would say that they played well against Bournemouth, right? But, Brighton put up 1.3 non-penalty XG, same as Liverpool, and Liverpool got a pen. And, we're not questioning our Brighton assets because they went in, Spurs put up 1.3 non-penalty. They scored 3 goals. City fucking did nothing and were bad most of the game except for the Haaland sitter, get a pen, win. It's like the context of what actually the result was versus what they did is just skewed so much versus
Yeah, well, it's also, they're almost a victim of us comparing them to previous iterations of the team where we're used to them.
Absolutely.
We're just used to them blowing away every team, every game, just like an immovable or like an unstoppable force. And this season they are showing a lot more fragility and they are being more inconsistent in that regard. But, we also, as we harsh them for that, when we compare them to the rest of the league, Arsenal accepted, there is no, that's just a team.
That's exactly like what I was going to say. Every year,
and we're not giving that.
There's either a runaway title or maybe a title race between City and Liverpool this year. Obviously, City and Arsenal, two by far best teams in the league. But the top 4 teams are like this. They're like roughly 2 points a game. They drop points here and there. They win most of their games. Blah, blah, blah. Like that's what Liverpool's doing. And I think you're 100% right when you say that we're like wrongfully comparing to, almost winning a quadruple type of season that we're used to. When like, no, that's not who they are this year. They're just competing for top 4. And that's just the level of normal competing for top 4 teams. Spurs, Man United, Liverpool, Newcastle, Brighton, they're all inconsistent. They all drop points all the time.
So that's the thing for sure.
Yeah. I think we'll talk more about our teams, our moves, our plans on Thursday, probably. Obviously, there's, the rest of the double on Wednesday. There's a Friday game, so the Thursday pod's going to be a big one. Anything else you want to talk about, or should I slap an ass and we get out of here?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. We didn't talk about Brighton, but they're going to play again. I guess we could do that, when we get 2 games in.
Yeah, it'll be more, I think, relevant once we get the 2-game sample.
Yeah, same with Tony. We don't know what he's going to finish up on.
Yeah, I do feel
like he had no
good
chances.
that he's at Southampton. Not an easy game anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me that?
Yeah. I could see him losing that game easily.
He had one chance that went down as a big chance, but when you actually watch the replay of that, it was one of the weirdest headers I've ever seen because it should have been like a sitter or as much of a sitter as headers can be. But he tried to draw a pen or something. He leaned into, I think it was Seamus maybe, tried to get fouled or draw a foul before actually jumping to get the header on target. It should have been a big chance, but in reality, he made it into an impossible chance. And that was really his one big scoring chance of the game. Brentford played pretty well and created a lot, and Everton probably got a little lucky, but that was Tony's only chance, and he didn't create anything else. So
Good.
We'll see.
Fuck them.
Yeah. Let me slap an ass and get out of here. We got one new sign up, Zach Edwards. Good try, money. You slap that ass, baby. Any last words, dude?
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Check us out at FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLFPL Sports, Patreon.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, rate, review. Cheers.